Case 1. The freeway call box. It starts fast and simple. At 1:04 a.m., 911 gets a call. The display does not show a cell number. It shows call box 76B. The map pins the spot on State Route 17. Northbound shoulder mile marker 76. There is no name. There is no callback number. Only the label and the GPS pin. Dispatcher. 911, what is your emergency? Male voice. I crashed. I'm on the shoulder. I can't get the door open. The voice is clear. Adult male, no slur. No background voices. Wind noise. A ticking sound like a cooling engine. Dispatcher. Can you see a mile marker? Male voice. 76. The blue sign. I'm at a phone box. I picked it up. It rang by itself. The system note next to the pin is odd. The note says, call box removed 2015, pedestal left in place. The dispatcher sees it but does not read it on the line. He keeps it simple. Dispatcher, stay on the line. Keep your seatbelt on for now. Help is on the way. 2 units are dispatched. 1 from the south, 1 from the next exit north. Fire and EMS are toned out. ETA 6 to 8 minutes. Traffic at this hour is light. Dispatcher, are you injured? Male voice, left arm hurts. Window won't roll down. Door won't open. I hit the rail. Lights are on. A faint dinging tone comes through. It is the sound cars make when a door is ajar. Wind increases. A truck passes. The horn is loud and close. The man flinches. Dispatcher, stay inside the vehicle. Do not step into the lane. Can you turn on your hazard lights? 3 quick clicks. The man says they are on. At 1:06 a.m., the north unit reports he is 2 miles out. The south unit is 4 miles out. The dispatcher asks for landmarks. Male voice. There's a slope, trees. The old yellow sign that says, emergency phone. The phone is here. The handset is cracked. It still worked. The dispatcher glances at the database again. It still says the box was removed years ago. Only the concrete base should be there. He makes a note to tell the officers on scene, not the caller. Dispatcher, do you see smoke or flames? Male voice, no flames, just steam. The man coughs. He breathes steady, no panic. He says he is alone. He says he drifted, hit the rail and stalled. He says he has no mobile phone because he left it at work. He repeats that the call came through when he lifted the handset. At 1:08 a.m., the north unit reaches mile 75. He slows. He looks for flashing hazards. He sees none. He sees a fresh scrape on the guardrail at 75.8. He sees no car on the shoulder. He keeps going. The dispatcher asks the man to honk the horn. The radio on the north unit is quiet. No horn in the air. On the 911 recording, 3 dull beeps appear. The officer still hears nothing on the highway. Dispatcher, I need you to describe your car. Male voice, silver sedan, 2 doors. Rear quarter panel dented now. At 1:09 a.m., the south unit reaches mile 76. He slows. He sees the old concrete pedestal where a call box used to be. It is on the right shoulder. There is no post. There is no metal box. Only a waist-high pad of concrete. The officer stops behind it with lights on. He steps out. His radio clicks. Officer, radio. I have 76 marker. Call box pedestal present. No phone. Shoulder is clear. No vehicle. The dispatcher looks at the map. The pin still sits on 76B. The audio still carries wind and engine ticks. Dispatcher, sir, are you at the sign? Do you see my officer's red and blue lights? Male voice. No, I see headlights going by. I'm on the right. I'm at the phone. The box is yellow. The south officer walks the shoulder with a flashlight. No car, no fresh skid marks at that exact spot. The scrape back at 75.8 looked older up close with rust. He calls it in. The north unit turns around at the next median break and heads back. Fire is 3 minutes out. The dispatcher keeps the man talking. Dispatcher, can you try your passenger door? Metal squeal, a thud. The man grunts. Won't move. Dispatcher, okay, stay seatbelted. Keep your hazards on. Male voice, already on. On the recording, a relay click repeats. Click, click, click. It is steady, like a flasher. The officers on the shoulder still do not see any blinking out on the road. At 1:11 a.m., The map pin drifts 20 yards, then snaps back to the pedestal. The label call box 76B does not change. The dispatcher sends the officers 50 yards north and south on foot. Nothing. Dispatcher, I'm going to ask you to shout. On 3, yell help as loud as you can. The man counts with the dispatcher. He yells. On the recording, the shout is clear. On the shoulder, both officers hear only highway wind. Fire arrives at 1:12 a.m. They stage behind the south unit. They deploy cones. They walk the slope below the guardrail with lights. The dirt is dry. No fresh slide marks. No broken brush. No pieces of plastic, no glass. The dispatcher watches the call timer. 8 minutes connected now. He tries something else. Dispatcher, sir, read me the numbers printed on the call box. A pause. Wind. The man answers 76B. The south officer shines his light on the concrete base. The metal plate that once held a number is gone. Only 2 rusted bolts stick out. Officer radio. There is no post here. It's been gone for years. The dispatcher mutes his mic. He tells the room what he sees on his screen. A supervisor rolls a chair over. He confirms the database note. He also confirms the system thinks the call is coming from device ID 76B. Dispatcher back to caller. We're here. Keep breathing slowly. Can you try the window with both hands? Male voice. Power's dead. Dispatcher. Understood. At 1:14 a.m. the audio changes. A hollow tone appears like a line switching. The man says, I can see taillights behind me now. The south officer stands 10 feet from the pedestal, looking at a dark, empty shoulder. The map pin jumps 30 feet into the lane, then snaps back. The supervisor calls the highway cameras. The nearest camera is a mile away. It shows light traffic and no hazard. At 1:15 a.m., the call drops for 1 second. It reconnects by itself. The label is the same. Call box 76B. The timer continues. The man whispers, water. The dispatcher asks, are you near a creek? The map shows none at that spot. Fire walks another 100 yards down the slope. They check the culvert. Dry. They check the opposite side of the highway. Clear. Dispatcher, do you have any passengers? Anyone else we should look for? Male voice, no. Dispatcher, tell me your name. The man gives a first and last name. The dispatcher runs it quietly. The system finds a driver license with that name. Registered 2 counties away. Silver 2-door sedan. No warrants, no active alerts. Nothing to link him to this road at this hour. At 1:18 a.m., the call audio adds a faint rhythmic beep. It is the exact cadence of a turn signal. The officers hear nothing in the air. The dispatcher asks the man to place the handset close to the window and tap the glass 3 times. The recording catches 3 dull pops. The officers hear only wind. Fire decides to widen the search by vehicle. They drive the shoulder to mile 77 and back, nothing. The north unit drives to 75 and back, nothing. No fresh debris, no disabled car. At 1:21 a.m., the man says, I can't feel my left arm. The dispatcher talks him through simple checks. Can you wiggle your fingers? The man says yes. He remains coherent. He answers questions correctly. He says he smells coolant. He says the radio is off, but the dash is lit. At 1:23 a.m., the call ends without a click. The label disappears. The screen returns to idle. The dispatcher dials a callback. The system returns number unavailable. There is no number. The original call logs as source roadside device. The officers remain another 20 minutes. They recheck mile 76. By daylight at 5:30 a.m., still nothing. No report comes in from any tow company. No driver reports a missing silver 2-door sedan overnight. The driver's license holder does not answer calls the next day. A welfare check at the address finds no one home. A neighbor says the man works nights and keeps odd hours. Tech review of the audio finds normal wind, normal engine ticks, and a steady relay click that matches older callbox hardware. The type removed in 2015. The system vendor confirms device ID 76B was decommissioned and scrapped. The pedestal at mile 76 has no power and no phone line. It cannot place a call. There is no ending on the record. No crash, no car, no driver. The last CAD line reads, caller disconnected. Area check north and south. Negative findings. The case stays open. To this day, no one knows what happened after that last call. Case 2. The apartment with whispers. Jinn call. This one opens with a hook you cannot miss. At 12:32 a.m., 911 gets a call from an apartment building on Darrow Street. The number is a normal cell number. The map shows a clear dot on the 4th floor. Unit 407A. The name on the carrier account is female. Dispatcher. 911, what is your emergency? Female voice. There is something in my apartment. Her voice is steady for the first sentence. Then it shakes. Dispatcher. Is someone trying to break in? Female voice. Not a person. It is saying words.
In the vents.
In the kitchen. It knows my name. The dispatcher moves to the basics. Dispatcher. Are you in a safe room? Female voice. I'm in the bedroom. The door is closed. The chain on the front door is on. My daughter is sleeping in my sister's place tonight. I am alone. Dispatcher. Do you see anyone outside your door? Female voice. No. The lights flicker. The words are not English. She lowers the phone. The microphone picks up a low, breathy murmur. It is not a radio. It is not a TV. The cadence is slow and even. The dispatcher cannot understand the words, but a few sounds repeat. Aha, Allah, Ara. The woman comes back to the phone. Female voice. I am Muslim. I think it is Jinn. I am not crazy. I can hear it. The dispatcher does not argue. He uses simple steps. 2 units are dispatched. ETA 5 minutes. He tells her to leave the bedroom if she can do so safely. Take her keys and exit the apartment. She says the chain is stuck. She says the hallway is dark. She says the voice is close to the door. Dispatcher. Do not open the door. Stay in the bedroom. Can you put something heavy in front of it? A dresser drags. She breathes hard. The whispering noise rises slightly. It is still low. It does not sound like a person right at the door. It sounds like air in a pipe. The dispatcher keeps her talking. Dispatcher. Turn off any fans. Turn off the AC. She says the AC is off. She says the oven is off. She says the voice started when the lights blinked after midnight. She says she tried to say a prayer and the voice repeated her prayer back to her in a child's pitch. She begins to cry. Dispatcher. Stay with me. Help is close. At 12:35 a.m., the first officer arrives at the building. He goes to the 4th floor. The hallway is quiet. He hears no voices. The lights are on. He reaches 407A. The chain is engaged. The deadbolt is locked. He announces police. The dispatcher asks the woman to knock on her side of the bedroom door 3 times. On the line, 3 soft knocks. Outside at the apartment door, the officer hears nothing. The dispatcher asks the woman to shout, police. On the line, she shouts. The officer hears nothing from inside. The 2nd unit arrives. They decide to force entry because the caller is reporting voices and possible distress. They call the on-call supervisor. Permission granted. They beat the door at the lock. The chain breaks. They enter at 12:38 a.m. The living room is small. The TV is off, no fans. The kitchen is to the left. The ceiling light flickers once, then holds steady. The officers call out. Police. No answer. They move to the bedroom. The door is closed. A dresser is in front of it from the inside. They hear nothing. They push. It gives. The room is empty. The phone is not there. The bed is made. A scarf is on the chair. The window is shut. The screen is in place. 4th floor drop to a small courtyard. The dispatcher still has the caller on the line. He can hear her breathing. He can hear her whisper. Are they here? The officer stands in the empty bedroom and says into his radio, Ma'am, this is the police. The dispatcher repeats that. The woman on the phone answers, I am in the bedroom. The room is empty. The officers search the closet. Empty. They search the bathroom. Empty. They search under the bed. Empty. They search the kitchen and the hall. Empty. The phone audio shifts. A low murmur rises, clearer now. The officers in the apartment hear it too, but not from the line. They hear it near the stove hood. It is a thin sound, like air moving across a bottle. The words are not clear, but the rhythm is speech-like. The first officer turns off the hood light. The sound remains. Dispatcher. Ma'am, can you put the phone on speaker and set it on the floor? The woman says yes. The officers hear nothing drop. The dispatcher asks the officer to speak into his body mic clearly. He does. Officer, This is the police inside your apartment. On the 911 line, the woman repeats it word for word, with the same cadence. Half a second later, this is the police inside your apartment. The room is still empty. At 12:41 a.m., the second officer finds a mobile phone on the kitchen counter. The screen shows 911 call in progress. The timer matches the center's timer. He picks it up. On the dispatcher's console, there is no change. The woman is still breathing and whispering. The officer puts the phone to his ear. He hears only static and the murmur-like air. He sets it on the counter again. The officers step into the hallway to ask neighbors. Apartment 409A says they heard a voice earlier, like a radio. Apartment 405A says the lights blinked around midnight. No one saw the caller leave. At 12:44 a.m., building maintenance arrives with a master key and shows the roof access is locked. The stairwell is empty. The courtyard gate is locked from the inside. Security cameras show no one leaving 407A in the last hour. The only motion is the officers entering. Tech on call from the 911 center joins by phone. He asks the officers to turn off the breaker to 407A to see if any device is producing audio. Maintenance throws the breaker. At 12:48 a.m., the apartment goes dark. The murmur continues for 12 seconds in the dark and then stops like a switch. The 911 call is still connected. Dispatcher, ma'am, can you hear me? Silence for 6 seconds. Then the woman whispers, it is quiet now. The officers stand in the dark kitchen listening to an empty room. The breaker goes back on. Lights return. The whisper does not. The officers canvass the building again. Nothing. At 12:53 a.m., EMS arrives to check for carbon monoxide and other hazards. CO levels are normal. No gas leak. Temperature normal. The stove is cold. The ducts are clean. The dispatcher asks the caller for her full name again. She gives the same name that matched the account. The officers look for mail in the apartment. There is mail with that name. The lease is in that name. They call the emergency contact listed on a form in a drawer. A sister answers. She says the caller sometimes stays with her on weekends, but tonight she left around 9 p.m. to sleep at her own place. She has not texted since. At 12:57 a.m., the call drops for 1 second. It reconnects by itself. The timer resumes. No caller ID change. The woman whispers, "Don't open the door." The door is already open. The officers are inside. The dispatcher asks, "Which door?" She says, "The one next to the kitchen." There is no door next to the kitchen except the pantry. The pantry is open and empty. At 1:01 a.m., the officers decide to clear and secure, then leave a contact card. They ask the 911 center to keep the line open as long as possible to gather audio. They close the apartment and lock it with a new chain. As they step into the hallway, both officers hear a child's voice, very light, say one sentence from the dark kitchen. They do not catch the words. Their body mics pick up only a hiss. At 1:06 a.m., the 911 call ends on its own. Callback goes to voicemail. The greeting is the caller's voice. A message is left. The officers sit in the lobby for 10 minutes in case she returns. She does not. The next afternoon, the sister brings the caller to the precinct. She says she slept at her sister's and turned off her phone after 10 p.m. because the battery was low. The call log on her phone shows no outgoing calls at 12:32 a.m. The 911 center's log shows a 40-minute call from her number. The audio matches her voice. Audio techs later run analysis. The whisper tone has a repeating pattern every 19.7 seconds. In that pattern, a few consonant shapes match a short Arabic prayer. A local officer who speaks Arabic says he hears fragments, but nothing complete. The copy that appears half a second after the officer spoke in the apartment is real on the waveform. It is not an echo. It is a clean, delayed repeat, as if a separate source said the same words into the line. There is no ending on the record. No suspect, no intruder, no evidence of a person in the apartment during the call. The last CAD line reads, "Caller disconnected. Premises checked. No person in need located." Unexplained audio. The case stays open. To this day, no one knows what happened after that last call.